Well, so welcome, Mrs. Bonnet. Feel free to address the audience.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. I will present myself like 1-2 minutes just to know me a little bit more. I'm a French woman. I'm living now in the Alps, in perhaps someone of you knows in Savoy, in Courchevel. I have been living, I'm first 38 years old. I have 2 children. I had the last 12 years of my life in Argentina, where I knew my husband and my children were born. I had most of my experience in Argentina, actually, very few in France. And I came back last year and started to work for Courchevel and as a freelance. So I have I have 2 CVs, I would say now, because I work for the public sector and the private sector. I actually worked all my life for the private sector, so it's a new experience that I really enjoy now. And I'm in charge now of sustainability for the territory of Courchevel, the collectivity, and I also participate in the decision, or at least the thinking for the championship, that the international championship of ski for 2023, and I'm participating in the sustainability decisions. Someone had a question?
Yes, there's some noise.
Yeah.
Please check
Okay.
out that your nobody has a micro.
So the objective, the goal today for me in this 45 minutes we have is to share with you a little bit of my experience and the thinking, the integrated thinking that I think it's important to have when someone is expert or at least works in sustainability. So I will share with you a very small presentation. The idea is really not to be theoretical today. It's just to have this sharing with you. I understand that you already had lots of studies in this question, so I won't be very, I won't go very deep in each one. And then to have some questions to share with you and makes you participate. And then we can have this interaction. So let's share the presentation. I have to find it. One moment. Okay. It's not this one. I will do it like that. Okay. Do you see my screen? Yeah. It's okay? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Thanks. Okay. So, you know, I'm sure you know the 17 goals, the global ones. So these pictures are actually just to show you, of course, the diversity of possibilities when we work in sustainability, the norms, the frameworks existing now and that we use. Actually, I would say in the private sector, but in the public sector, you can use them also. Of course, you can have some of them that are more specific of the sector, the public sector, for the public sector. But it's just to have this big picture. We need to work with frameworks to help us to get a comparison of thinkings and tools, which helps better for your clients, for you. It's a common language, I would say. You know this image perfectly, I'm sure. So the idea here is just to explain you that to work in sustainability, you have to get this integrated thinking always. When you think about a project, you always have to think about the impact you will have in the community at the social level, in the environment, and at an economic point of view, which is the local one too. When we think economic, is just not the rentability, profitability.
Juste pour aller aux toilettes rapidement, du coup. C'est Isaac.
There is noise. I think someone is without the mute, so just get it. Okay, this value stream is actually the way I would say I'm working every day when I think about sustainability, and I work in my job here in the collectivity with the small companies. I had in my 3 last years of experience, I worked for the major energy company of Argentina, which is also the major company of Argentina, which is at a 51% a public company or owned by the state. So very interesting issues and challenges when we think about sustainability, because we had to work at 2 levels. The investors that asked a lot, require every time more information and actions in sustainability, but also the state for who YPF is the first social impact company, economic impact company for the country. So it was very challenging to work in this in sustainability in this company, because we had to work with these 2 main stakeholders, I would say. So this thinking is the one you will have in your daily life as a sustainability expert, and also when you will think about your stakeholders, you know, always thinking about how the other one is, what's the impact in the other one, and how I can, or I have to understand what's the issues he's encountering, he's facing, to be able also to better understand these issues and better answering these problems. I mean, I have these 2 CVs, these 2 hats on my head, because I'm working as a consultant and have been working almost of my life, professional life, as a consultant, but I also worked with helps of consultants. So I had to develop these 2 thinking of what do the other one need from me, and what do I need to ask to the other one to really be helped. No? So this value stream loop for sustainability and resilience is the one you will have to always think these steps, you know, to have your project done, and probably to go and back all the time to one of them to be sure that, for instance, when you will report, you have the indicators to make it, you will be able to be monitored, to be audited. You will have always the strategies and the policies, and for the strategies, how did you connect with the needs of the stakeholders, the expectations, and so on and so on and so on. But my idea today is not to enter in this theoretical, just to explain you that the thing I really love in this job is that you're always very open to what's happening in your environment, in your stakeholders, and trying to be always very open-minded and very listening person. That's it, I would say. For the more managing one, I would like to share with you, make you answer questions, just to open the debate. And then if you have questions, we can answer it on my job or on the responsibilities in sustainability expert may have. But you will see the questions are surrounding these topics. So please just scan the QR code. We will start to fill the form and see together the answers. Just tell me when you're okay.
Sorry, Mrs. Monet, do you want to for questions or?
Yeah, I would like that everyone. I have one answer already here in the form, so I would need that everyone answers, just to have your opinions about what the first question, for instance, which competencies must have a sustainability expert. I gave you some possibilities, but you can put others. And the second question, which is, what do you think is the role of a CSR expert? And then we will share the answer together. It's just to open the debate.
Okay.
There is no good answer.
If we may perhaps share again the QR code, perhaps.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Yes. Tick this one.
Thanks.
No, welcome. If some of you are need more time, it's okay. You can answer anyway. So let's see the answers for these first two questions. Okay, what you think, and then we can open the debate. The idea is really to share your point of view, your experience, perhaps. I'm sure that many of you already have had companies' experiences and perhaps already work in CSR. So it's interesting to have you and the differences between countries. So I will take the first question. Which competency must have a sustainability expert? It's interesting to see that for most of you, the expertise, the expert hat is the most important. The analytical capability and the critical mind. Also the political and negotiation capability, which is very, very clear. We have to be able to negotiate all the time and to be, I could say, like always thinking of what the other one needs to be able to better manage the where we want to go, what are the topics we have to focus on. And there is a part of political negotiation, political and negotiation capability in a CSR, because you will have very different people, everyone in the company or in the stakeholders. It's like depending on the project you have or the big objectives or the small objective you have, you will have to be kind of political in your small area, in your department, or in the big company, or with the different stakeholders. My role in YPF was coordinator. I wasn't the director. So the director position was much stronger in political view, because also of the fact that the company was, I would say, it's not exactly like that, but I would say a public company. In my case, I had to be to get a very good thinking of the needs and the expectations of my peers in the company, and also of my biggest contacts or stakeholders with whom I was working with, which were the investors, most of them, about CSR expectations, issues, and all that stuff. And then also the critical departments of the company, to be able to make them understand why the biggest issue are this one or this one, and why we have to work together on that way. So analytical capability, clearly, the expertise is depending on, it's always the same, depending on the project you are working on. But if I take my experience as a consultant or as a coordinator of sustainability in YPF, I had to perform in the sustainability tools, the issues of the companies, which are human rights companies, which are, of course, big environmental one, but also the social one, the impact for the country, and the way also to be able to how do you say, always take and balance these different issues to be able not to propose a big change in environmental laws or environmental regulations in the companies, but also understanding that what is the human right, what are the social needs, and what does it mean for the country to work in energy, to work in oil and gas, etc. No? So listening and openness, totally. Listening is so important. I didn't have it when I started to work like 15 years ago in sustainability. I was sure that as a consultant I had to propose and be very expert. So I was a little bit afraid of not being able to really give the information that my clients needed. And then I started to understand that actually I can't be an expert of everything. I can be expert in listening and understanding what are the big issues of the companies, and then just to try to connect what might be the big challenges of this sector, what does the client say are the issues for his company, which issues the CSR coordinator of the company, which means my client, might have in his project to need external consulting expertise. So you have more the human one, the human challenge, I would say, or the political challenge inside the company, which is also very important. Which position does my client need to have in sustainability, to have in his job, and to get more power in these topics. General knowledge. The general knowledge is useful. You don't need to have knowledge in everything, or I mean, deep knowledge, but it's good to have knowledge in everything, because when you understand an issue, you can connect it with another one. You can have this integrated thinking, which is really easier to come back to your specific problem. I will take an example. I'm working now, defining. I'm doing it now, so it's undergoing the strategy of Courchevel in sustainability. What does it mean this general? Why do I need to have a general knowledge to work with the territory, with specific problems, issues of the territory? I need to understand not only because Courchevel is specific. Courchevel is an international ski resort. It's also a collectivity, but it's known for as a ski resort with people coming from all the world, with its own issues, social, economic, environmental issues, with different understandings of impact of ski resorts, and in general in environmental impacts, or in knowledge or interest in global issues, social issues, etc. So how it can impact for a cultural, it can impact just only because your client, which is perhaps like 10 years ago, wasn't really interested at all in environmental impact, is every day more aware of that and more interested in that and more critical to that. So today, perhaps it's not a problem. They still consume, they still want to ski, but tomorrow they want to understand how you will work and how you will manage with these issues in your territory, and how you will answer to climate changes in the territory, also as a global citizen, you know. So the fact that we work at a very local level, but with clients at international levels, makes the problem with the general knowledge also a little bit more open. I mean, you have to get a very good knowledge of the challenges, climate challenges, social challenges, economical challenges of the territory, but you cannot forget that you have an international, that you're known internationally, and you have your business also directly related with international income, international client income. Okay, strong expertise in climate change. I wouldn't say that. You have to understand, but according to what you work on, you have or you don't have to get to be an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to calculate. Of course, I have a very good idea because I work in an energy company, and my KPIs were many of them related with climate change. But I'm not an expert, and I want to try to be, because actually what you have to know is who's the expert internally in your company or externally, and just to find the expertise that you need, then just be able to coordinate the project with the people that really know about that, and you will learn, of course, but you won't have the expertise because you can't. And I want really to emphasize on this. You cannot be an expert in everything. Sustainability is a huge field play. So you can work and know many things, but pretend to know everything is very dangerous, because you get a position that makes you not that comfortable, and give this image to the others won't help anyway. So just be sure that you will work with the experts in the field that you really need to get a strong expertise in that, but you don't need to manage and to really control, perform in this specifically, but you have to get it. The mathematical capability is interesting, but I would say for the KPIs, it's good to have this analytical mathematical capability, just to be able to always relate the big issues with the way you will perform in the monitoring, in the really the management, in the day-to-day, and in the management of your project. Okay. I don't know if you have questions on this one. Anyway, we can come back then and open the debate after that. But the other question is, what do you think is the role of CSR expert? Okay, interesting. Most of you say that it's understanding the social, environmental, and economic issues. Of course, that's the thing you have to be expert in, is to understand always all the impacts that will have your project, that will have your company, or already has your company. So it's getting the knowledge, the useful knowledge, to have the big picture and the relation, the connections between the stakeholders, between the issues and the stakeholders, between the the issues and the needs of the companies, the impact for the companies, etc., etc. So yes, the general understanding is of course useful. Implementing tangible sustainability actions. Yes and no. Depending on what do you think are tangible actions. In YPF, my job was at a global group level. This company has 25, more or less 25,000 employees and 45,000 providers. So it's a huge company. That's clear that we were two people in sustainability, my boss and I. But of course, we weren't the only one to work in sustainability in the company, would be impossible. So our job was to think about the global strategy and to be able to work with the department in charge of every one of the actions and every one of the critical issues to be sure that the strategy is well shared, the strategy is well understood, the KPIs are well identified and well monitored, and that we can clearly, and every year better, we can clearly answer the investors' issues. And we were doing it, answering an assessment, actually, CSR assessment, recognized one. So the tangible actions for me were actually the biggest one, I would say, well, defining the strategy, yeah, and implementing the report, the big sustainability report, and the human rights risk audit. We started with this because in Argentina we have in Argentina, how do you say, the indigenous people with the fights of their own fields in different areas of Argentina. You have it in Patagonia, most of them, but you have it also in the Amazonic area. And YPF had to know, because these issues will come back all the time. I mean, in YPF, the problem of human rights and the risk of the activities of the company in the human rights of this population. So we made a very big audit to understand how we were actually setting up actions to be sure that we avoid any risk, and if we can identify risk and tangible risk, how we have to handle, what do we have to put to set, which action do we have to set to be sure that we will minimize it or we will directly stop it, no? So tangible action depending totally of the size of your company. Now in the collectivity, my tangible actions are, for instance, with the private sector, with the hotels and the restaurants, to be sure that they can have a good idea of the risks they have, the opportunities they have in implementing CSR actions. What are the managing opportunities and strengths to implement a strategy, to implement concrete actions, which financial mechanism they will receive from the state, etc. So this is a very concrete action and at a very small level. So depending, you have to be able also to play with these differences between the roles you will have in the different companies, in the sizes of the companies, in if it's a private or public sector, etc., etc. Then you said monitoring KPI and defining corrective actions. I would say that it's one of the key questions. I mean, it's really hard, and I'm actually working with this here in the collectivity. We have the collectivity already had implemented a lot of actions in sustainability, but no one was with KPIs. No one are monitored. So I monitored. So I don't know if we are here, or here, and what are the expectations of our stakeholders? What are the answers? The interest in the actions we had, because we never monitored them. We never had clear objective. So sometimes it's just replying to legal obligations. Sometimes it's because the population or a concrete actor say we have to work in this area and the other area. So yes, KPIs are like, when we work in a project, KPIs are like the basic points to start and to follow the effectiveness of our actions. Okay, that was the first question. We have like 15 minutes more, and I have another questionnaire for you. So I let you go to this one. I don't know if you know Book Lab. I just experienced it last Friday, and I really liked it, because you will see your answer at the moment. It's immediate. So please enter in this one, and we will go to Book Lab. Okay, speaking about sustainability in sport. I took this topic because I'm actually working in that, so it's interesting for the global championships to see what's your opinion about what are the main challenging that sport faces, and what do we have to think about when we plan an event related to sports. Huh? That's nice, because when I did it, I made my husband work, and he answered ni idea capa. So I don't know if people know about Spanish. So gender equality was my proposal. I don't know if more of them of you, sorry, and answered that, but I think that gender equality is also a big problem in sports. So I wanted to share it with you. Okay, carbon footprint, travel, trash and pollution. Someone said athletes, so I would like then to get a little bit more information about what for you is the issues. Athlete is not an issue, it's a stakeholder. So it would be interesting to understand what is, according to you, the issue for the athletes. If it's social, I mean, if it's a question of gender, if it's a question of performances, I don't know. You can still answer if you want, or change if you want to change your opinion. You can make it in the system. Travel to locations, yeah, totally. Mobility is a huge issue. Actually, in our collectivity, we made a footprint analysis, carbon footprint in 2009, so it's quite old already. But the biggest issue we had in carbon emissions, and it's still the case, is the mobility. It's because tourists come here and they have to make many kilometers. So now we have the environmental awareness of people make that many more people come to with the train, for instance. but you still have many people coming from with the car. You have a lot of people, or you have at least a lot of carbon emissions related to air, to aviation, to air airplanes, because we have an airport in the ski resort. So many rich people come and they make it like very, very high. So it's a huge issue for us that we don't have for the moment any really concrete answer, of course. Okay, gender equality still is the biggest problem. I totally agree with that. It's a huge topic, which must, and gender equality doesn't come only with the athletes. It comes, or it may come with the, in general, the remunerations of the professionals in this area. Okay, waste is a huge issue too. Okay, carbon footprint is actually not an issue, it's just the result. So it would be interesting to understand the one who wrote, or the ones who write that, what they want to say actually. Let's go to the second and last questions, and then if you want, we can come back and to one of the questions, or to the question you may have to me. What are for you the most urgent issues to resolve? You can answer at a global level or in your country. What do you think you should work in? Which issues, CSR issues, sustainability issues, you should work in for you at the country level, at the global level? I don't know if you can already vote. Okay. And we will put it like that. Okay, poverty. Interesting. Poverty is one of the 17 global goals, actually. Social equality also. Global warming. Global warming, as you know, is not, of course, only an environmental one, but it has big relations with inequality, poverty, because the impact will be very different according to which country we will live in, or we already live in. One-time use products. Okay, the most urgent issue to resolve. Interesting. So waste, actually. Yeah, plastic reduction. Big problem too. Okay, food waste at a global level. Okay, interesting. Yeah, in France we have, if I say right, 10 million tons of food waste per year. So we are, and actually we have a big individual impact in this question. Okay, poverty is still the biggest problem. How many? 10 people answered. I don't know if someone wants to answer. Someone? 5, 6% more? Loss of biodiversity. The biodiversity is one of the biggest problems we will face indeed, because it's also the impact it will have in the agriculture, in the way we can feed ourselves, and we will be able to have air quality, drink, avoid or limit the big environmental issues that we have. Ethical supply chain, totally. Plastic reduction, food security. Okay, let's stop if you want. But I let the question, and we can open the macros, and just please, if you have some questions, we can share it. We have 10 minutes more.
Please feel free to pose questions. Many of you were kind in posing questions in the forum, and I share them with Mrs. Bonet. Okay, you may retake your question if you wish.
You can also write it if you don't feel to speak. I think I can see them. Let's check.
I have a question.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Hi, I'm Apurva, and I wanted to know, like, I am very interested into getting in the roles which are related to sustainability, but I have no relevant experience in this field. And I am gaining knowledge, and I am very motivated. But how do I convey this motivation to the applications maybe that I'm submitting? I mean, are there some tangible things that I can do to maybe convey my motivation? Or maybe what do the companies look in candidates and they are like looking for hiring people maybe?
Okay, I would say that depending on the work the job you are looking for, you have the hard skills and the soft skills. The hard skills would be, I mean, if it's for an internship or I mean, if you have an idea, if your question is very general, I will answer very general. It's okay. I have no problem. If you have a specific job that you would like to enter in a company, perhaps it will help me to answer. But anyway, I can answer if you want. Just tell me if you have a specific.
I think I would like to know both your opinions, but I mean the general one also, and I am interested in the ESG strategy area.
Okay, so I would say that if you want to work in CSR strategy, you have to understand what's the concrete methodology for that. So what's the thinking behind it, and the main steps you have to go on, you have to set up. You also have, so I would say that the easiest is to just look at it, how you look on internet, and you look for what are the main steps to go on. It's internal diagnostic, external diagnostic. Who are my stakeholders? What do they need? How can I meet the expectation of my stakeholders with the challenges and with my own objectives as a company? And then I will go to materiality matrix and look for the priorities. What are the main topics I have to work on? Where do people expect I work on, and where can I make the difference as a company? That will be your job. So you have to understand this methodology and what does it mean concretely. I mean, the tangible actions that you will have to put. And then, depending on the company, you will have to understand the minimum of the issues, the sector issues. So you always can refer, for instance, to GRI. If I come back to my presentation, you know, this one. I actually, as a consultant company, as a consultant in a consulting company, I worked a lot with GRI. In Argentina, it's very well known and it's very used because as it's global, it's easy to show your performance in sustainability to your clients, to your providers at a global level. So it also make easier the assessment that your clients may have on you because you use international tools, international frameworks. And GRI has special information for the biggest sector, or the most, I would say, yeah. They chose with many stakeholders, and they improve it all the time to make specific issues for specific sectors. So if I have to give you some keys to work as a sustainability professional, it would be this: a lot of methodology, basic one, and like basic knowledges of issues in the sector you're interested in, or the sectors, depending, you know. That would be my first advice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Do we have more questions?
There was a very interesting question in the forum.
Ah,
there are many questions, but there's one I'm sharing in the chat.
okay.
And I think particularly suitably for you because of your experience in an emerging market.
Which one?
I put it in the chat.
I don't know why I don't see the chat.
Okay,
I just just see the people.
Okay, so for
here it is.
Yes.
Here it is. Okay. Let me read it. For developing countries, should they first develop at any cost to gain a solid economic foundation and then try to solve all the problems that have been caused? Or should they slower down the process and be more environmentally friendly at the same time, accepting the risk that it may take many years to be well developed? Oh, it's a very strategic question and geostrategic question. My experience in Argentina is that the positive things where you in the developing countries is that you can take advantage of the expertise and the mistakes and of the rich countries, or the first world countries, as I heard. So you can use this experience to make it better, just to not make the mistakes again, just take advantage of all the knowledges and experiences of the countries to go on. But of course, it's a question that you always have to balance with the social and economic acceptance. For instance, in Argentina now, one of the biggest strengths or commodities, we would say, not strengths, of Argentina is energy and agriculture. But the thing is that Argentina is facing many social strikes on these two topics, because the environmental and social consequences are so heavy in these two sectors that people are less and less in acceptance of. So they, in a certain way, the only thing they can make is to raise their voice. Because stop buying is it's not that easy. Stop buying the food or stop buying energy, because not necessarily the infrastructure or alternatives are existing. So if I come back to the question, I would personally say that you have to take advantage of the experiences of other countries to make it better, to think it better, to not spend so much time and efforts just to resolve it after that. But of course, it depends also of the urgency to feed people, for instance, or to make the mobility possible. So it's a very geopolitical question, and that we have to limit at a very more tangible level, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Do you have any other question? We have 5 minutes left, so I would say that many people will have to go in a few minutes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, that's it. Well, so I think thank you, Mrs. Bonella Verge, for your visit.
Welcome.
We are so happy at your visit.